Okay, so let's keep going. Um, with backtesting, we're gonna be doing hindsight backtesting. We're gonna be going over the trades I took and what I could have done better each and every single day. And if I took the highest probability trade, if I took probably the second highest probability trade, something like that. Okay. Um, and also we're gonna be redoing the analysis for the weekly, daily, and 4 hour profiling. Okay. Alright, so let's start. So this is gonna be Monday 12th. And we don't have news, but this week we do have CPI and there's PPI and unemployment claims. Okay. So let's go next day open. There it is. So we look at the weekly close. So the weekly here closed bullish. So again, I'm expecting this to continue higher overall. Okay. There has to be a draw liquidity higher. But now this day is opening low first though. See, there is no S&P repeats days high. So overall, I'm still assuming we probably want to go ahead and hit these highs. Now, the problem with that is that we're not respecting EQ. We're disrespecting EQ with this. Even here, you see how we're leaving these. Okay, so this could be a C2 since this day didn't really expand much, right? This is the most bullish asset. We do have SMT here. Now, it is with failure swings. And like we gotta pay attention to how we react off of this low. Right, even here. We want to pay attention to what happens on ES and YM here pretty much. Okay, that's bugged. I may refresh this real quick. Okay, there is. So if I'm looking at this, this is not looking very good. I'm very confident he's not gonna get to these highs. Like it's just like an insane expansion. It's definitely possible we go and retest this. Just the opening price or you trade towards that. So if we can get trade idea there, it would be fine. Get this V-shaped CSD. Yeah, so I'm overall bullish here. Even though we're trading away from these fair swings. Because of this SMT, right? We can see also WAM. I mean, WAM is lower into the range. Right? So ideally, we actually trade like ES probably. Well, actually, not NQ, but we have to set our target. Like, probably not going to reach these highs, okay? Unless we get an insane expansion, probably not going to reach those. So we can go for the opening price here. We trade towards the opening price. And I mean, if we get one side expansion here and 10 a.m. opens somewhere in the realm here, we can probably hit these. Okay. So let me look at RTY. RTY also looks very good. This is actually pretty good. We're very close to this high, right? And yeah, YM has nowhere to go lower again, right? Because like this is just a V-shaped consolidation. We put in failure swings. Can we reverse like this? Sure. No, right? We shouldn't. Having said that, again, YM probably is not gonna be able to expand. Probably hit this high. We'll see about that. Here, let me see. So this is PSP close here. In itself, this could be a strong switch with RTY. So let's go look at the lower time frame here. Do we have a gap? Not really. You have this 30-minute. And that's pretty much it. So I don't really like this as much. Even here, we have no gap. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait. So there's a gap here though. Just an hourly where we also inside this 30-minute, but we didn't get a C2. So we probably want to trade lower. And see what happens here after 9 a.m. opens. See where we go. Okay, so we hit this gap. So there's also a 70 fill. And we get this. Okay, the problem is it's not away from a gap. I'll be completely honest. Here, like definitely just need at least a 15 minutes. So if you wanted to trade this, I would trade like this 15-minute gap here. Um, I like this positional, right? Especially because of what RTY is doing. See, okay, RTY does give us this CSD. Is that enough? Probably not. I'll be honest. Yeah, so RTY is not going to be continuing there. We're just gonna wait for the driver here. Right, so we get a CSD on NQ. It is off of a gap, and yeah, I think ES as well, and we have SMT fill. And ideally, prior to this, if you want to trade this, you trade like the CSD on NQ as opposed to ES, because ES could sweep out these lows. Let me get rid of this. This is definitely, you could definitely take this. This looks like just a retracement here. This is just before the driver. Okay. I think you definitely take this. Okay, so we don't get the 5-minute yet, but this is it's enough V shape. Like, you see it's so quick. You do get 5-minute on ES as well. I'd rather take this on NQ, I'll be honest. So market order. And yeah, so as long as you can get to R or to that, that's all we need. Alright, so I wouldn't take this on WAM because of what RTY is doing, but NQES are synced up. Okay, that's DP. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I remember this. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember why I didn't take this. I remember seeing it and just fading it. Okay, so we just hit this. Okay. So yeah, just expanding different direction. So the reason that you don't take this positional entry, I mean, so if you want to take this, it has to be like off of this 15-minute gap, right? This 15-minute CSD, and you're break even by this point. So the reason you don't take this is because Y is very far away from this, and RTY is not V-shaping, right? And see, RTY is being weaker, so that's how we know we're probably gonna hit this as well. Now we left this now, so since this SMT is invalidated, now you have to pay attention to these lows. Yeah, see what happens. So this is just expanding. All right. I would just get to R here. I don't really need anything. So yeah, it looks pretty good. And there's a gap, right? That's why I can trust this. There's a gap. We pretty much traded this C2 candle close here. Now it's not CSD, but that's pretty good precision in my opinion. It is CSD on yes. You could also take this. I just prior to the driver, I always like taking the asset that actually fills the gap, actually puts in like quote unquote manipulation, right? With Princess C2. Most of the time, if the driver is going to expand, we do not revisit this though because we already stopped quote unquote people out. Whereas in this case, we haven't, right? Because there is SMT. Even though it's showing strength, the driver could just take out this low and then deliver, right? The driver doesn't have to expand if there's no manipulation. Usually expands if there is manipulation. Now, SMT can be seen as a form of manipulation, but in my experience, prior to the driver, it's always better to just trade this asset or you trade after the driver starts expanding here. But I don't know if it's going to be an opportunity. So there's that trade. That trade definitely could have taken. And even if you do take it on ES, I mean, there's equal lows here, I think. Yeah, so I would not take this 100%. On NQ, though, we sweep everything out, right? You can see just smaller retracement. The driver should expand like it does. Okay, so let's see what's happening on RTY and YM. Holy, what a fucking V-shape. Okay, so we have these relatively equalized now. And we have this high. Okay, that's a pretty insane wick. So we cannot trade. Like, I want to hold on this. Probably B2R to be here. Okay, so this is ripping. It might actually hit those highs. Oh, I guess the flare wick is so small. I didn't see that. It's definitely possible it hits these highs, actually, yeah. But as I said, like, I'd rather trade 10 here. Yes, we get a retracement here. A little bit of a deeper retracement on RTY. Okay, so we had this V-shape CSD. See what happens here. So we don't get this CSD yet. So we get this on in here. Like, technically, you could trust this. So that's a new 50-minute low, right? Is it like candle 4? Yeah, this is candle 4 here. Well, we are very close, so that's definitely tradable. I mean, I wouldn't take this though. It's very high into the range. Like, 10 could just do this, by the way. I could just hit this gap. As I would get this CSD. So this is a little bit messy here. This is a little bit messy. See, it's not V-shape. And also we just hit this high. So prior to 10, I cannot trust the CSD. Hold. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I've got that CSD. Probably taking it. I'm trying to remember what I did this day. There was, I mean, what am I talking about? There's S&T here. NQ is very close to the opening price here. Where you could trade this, actually. Wait, let me see if it's reachable on the 5-minute. I want to see the 5-minute here. This 5-minute? Yeah, you can definitely take this. Yeah, they can definitely take this. I don't know if you asked to retest. I guess you probably don't, right? If you're gonna, we can just should probably just straight up go for that. And that is the highest point of the day. But honestly, like I wouldn't really trust. I mean, is that the opening price? Then? Yeah, it is. Like unless we hit anything here, I wouldn't really trust this tour. Like I'd probably just hold this. Oh, never mind. I guess you do go break even. Yeah, I guess you do go break even at the highest point of the day. I mean, so, no, my bad. It's not the highest point of the day. I'm pretty sure I actually took this trade, actually, yeah. So how did I manage this trade? Yeah, okay, now I'm starting to remember. I'm so sorry. So how I managed this trade is I actually went break even at this high. Because you have to understand that we are so close to this draw, this high can be a reason to rebalance here at this point. And yeah, where you guys stop out break even. And what we get here is it's like this SMT now. It's like with, I mean, it's with this, right? So I'm pretty sure where it took next is this. Now I have to find this SMT. Is it on the ES perhaps? No, so it's not really an SMT. I remember there being an SMT. I did take this trade here. I got the retest here. I'm not sure. Probably not, because that's one drawn liquidity. Yeah, it just hits TP. I remember there being SMT here though. Well, so there's this trade, right? Where I guess if you take this CSD, it's very choppy, right? Probably just wait for 10. Because like this 4 Arcana is not gonna expand. So then 10 AM opens low, right? Opens low. We get the CSD. Yeah, so let's go over this because I don't remember exactly. So I took this trade. Yeah, so this is NQ, SMT, though, plus PSP itself is like close. But I do go break even at the internal high. I just want to see this continue, like, yeah. It's like now this is like brush 10 AM. You can see 10 AM is opening high first. So it's taking out the previous candle's high and it could reverse. Ideally, what we don't do, we just expand. You could take that. I mean, it's very high into the range, I guess. Oh, that's a valid loss, even if it was a loss. I took this. Yeah, I remember there being SMT. Probably there isn't then. Press a 30-minute? Okay, so it's like pretty much this, but it happens very late. Yeah, okay. I'm assuming. So it's like this. So yeah, it happens after I enter. Or we take out this low. Alright, so it's pretty much just the CSD. And let's see. I'd relatively equalize 49578. What is that? Is that like this? Oh, I think it's this. Okay. And I got the retest the archive. Pretty much same trade idea. And yeah, I mean that's there's that. If you hit these, I mean this is the opening price. Now we have equal highs here. PSP here. It's very high into the range. Honestly, I don't like this as much. You probably, I mean, that is the highest point of the day. I don't know. I wouldn't take this type of trade. Can even get to R with that. Probably don't get it. And again, that's like the highest point of the day. Yeah, so we break even there and it does deliver. I mean, it's just like, yeah, not it. So ideally you trade this or the driver here. Definitely the driver. I think the driver just makes sense. Driver entry. Okay, so what I did that day is I didn't take the driver entry. I took this trade when I went break even at the internal high because I'm understanding that 10 AM is pretty much opening high first. So yeah. Oh yeah, this is a 5-minute as well. But yeah. Also a small 3-minute OB, I guess you'd say. I'm treating the internal high as like the high of the day. It's very relevant swinger. I mean, not relevant, but the high today is like kind of in the middle of nowhere. That's what I mean. So this was my decision personally. I didn't have to do it, but you can see the eye of the day is just a fair swing. I think so. If you're gonna get to, like prior to that high, any internal swing can cause a retracement here. Cause yeah, at that point you should probably you're probably trusting this to hold, which it does, and why not trade this? But it's just me. You can definitely just take that and not go break even. That would have been a valid trade either way. And yeah, I did take this YM long. Well, so technically there is no SMT here, but you do have relatively equalized and opens low. This is a 30-minute high. And opens low, and then we get a V-shaped CSD. This SMT happens afterwards, but so yeah. Or I also didn't want to read this. I probably didn't need it to. They're trading towards the open. So yeah. that's it for that day. And so it's Monday, and we have CPI. Okay, so let's go recession and see the daily close. Okay, so we don't close like, oh, this is a C2 now. Here, I definitely want to see YM hit these highs before anything happens really. Okay, so these are a lot of expansion days. So C2 into expansion here will be pretty damn good. So here we have previous day's high. Let's see if we get SMT with it, okay. Because you could trade this either higher or lower, right? If you get a chance to long to that prior to the driver, because this is prior to the driver, we could do that. So I start from the 4 hour. So we're chopping around. I want to see this low being taken here. It's even just consolidating. So probably take out this low before continuing higher. Same thing on ES. Just consolidating between the high and the low of the day. So RTY does not C2 on the 4 hour, but it is on the hourly. So I'm still willing to trade towards this high. YM is pretty low here into the range. It's leaving these though. Let's see what the driver does. Okay. Whoa. So we hit previous day's high. Okay. So daily here. Okay, so ES is at all-time highs. Oh wait, this is wrong. We still have these highs to be taken on NQ. This is wrong actually. Because of the opening, because of this candle. What? This candle does not exist. Oh, it's not like that. Wait, this is like completely wrong. Yeah, like this day does not, like this day doesn't exist. So I'm pretty sure we still have these eyes now where we're gonna, it's a proof of concept, we're gonna have it like that. And I'm pretty sure we don't hit those. So we hit this high. What an insane expansion on RTY. Holy. And I'm pretty sure RTY is actually very close to if this even loads. Alright, so that's not the actual chart. So we had all-time highs here on RTY on the left. Where we go fairly close. I'm pretty sure. So this is wrong again. What? I gotta open this. I'm sorry, guys. Alright, big trading view. Definitely not silver. Alright, so NQ. So this is paper trading. Let me log out of this. So it was this day where we had these highs. So from the opening price, 0.7. We're gonna do something like this. So yeah. So from the opening price. So it's like here. Alright. So those highs right there. And we'll go look at RTY. The same day. That's the what's that, the 13th. So we had all-time highs here. Either it's not on the charts or what, I don't even remember. We had this daily high as well. I think it's the daily high that we were very close to. Yeah, so it's this day. Look at this. Yeah. So from the opening price, as you can see, it's very close to this daily high. 1.24. Okay. This is YM, my bet. 1.24. Wait, so it says we took it out. Okay, so we're pretty close. Okay, we're gonna do something like this. I don't know, probably the opening price is different. Okay, so and I think yes, and when we're at all time high, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, now we can go back. Now it's very important. So what I'm looking here potentially is logs on NQ. Even though we're straying away from these fair swings, I'm pretty much trusting that what we're about to form it. I'm about to trust like this 15-minute gap we're about to form. This one right here. So I'm trusting this gap to hold for us to trade away from these fair swings. Now the problem with this is that is what William is doing. See, it's rejecting this high. Ideally, since we swept the low today, just took out the low today. If we're gonna be bullish, we should probably just expand towards this. We should not get this deep of a retracement. Like that's a pretty bad sign, right? Probably what we're doing is probably rejecting this high. Right, because like now this day is opening high first. Now I wouldn't trade this lower because this is not a good draw, but we can trade RTY lower because even though it's leaving relatively equalized, I guess. Yeah, we could trade this lower if it does expand away from that. No, this is a little bit fucked. So bear in mind here there's a 50-minute gap. And I remember it's gonna be a 30-minute as well. And before the driver. I mean, might as well just get that, right? Because like so we chop around here. As you can see, we haven't done anything. No, there's a 30-minute here. Oh, it's bugged. Yeah, let me refresh this. Okay, there is. This is the 30-minute gap I was looking at. We also have it on why I'm not, but this is not a good sign, okay? The fact that we run this deep, wait, no, that's not yet. That's not the 30-minute gap yet. Okay, so this is, yeah, this is 9:30. So this is the 30-minute gap. So the fact that we retraced this much on YM is not a good sign. Even on NQ, I would say. None of these has a fail starting plate this high. So what I took here is, I believe, it's 5 minutes. So we get this 5-minute CSD, and before we take out this high, I'm like, okay, I'm setting my limit order here. Now the problem here, again, this is another mistake I made, and I had to add the body separately. Is that I'm not paying attention to the R assets. What is what I'm doing? What is expanding lower? I don't care about RTY force if I'm trading NQ, but what is ES doing? It's still respecting this gap. So this trade doesn't make sense, right? This is a loss I did take. And even though we have this high, right, we were delivering from this, and we're probably gonna trade towards this. If the other assets don't expand in the same direction, that this trade that's likely to fail. So what we get here, as you can see, yes, it's that low. Okay, YM keeps expanding lower. So here what do we get? We do get a bullish SD here, but we don't get this one. As you can see, we don't get that. Ideally, we get that one, or otherwise, this is just consolidation, right? We consolidate between this high and this low. We don't take out the low, okay? Or there is SMT with it, but then we take out the high. Okay? So I mean, it's just YM. The problem is YM is not reversed here. As you can see, there's no CSD. Like the only CSD lower is this one. So by this point, right, I should have flipped my bias to, okay, I'm gonna be bearish until the low of the day. And let me get the hourly real quick. And we have, so that's a 4-hour gap now. This 30-minute low, okay. Pretty much that. Ideally get 2R if I want to short this to the lowest point of the day. Now, do I care about shorting NQ with equal highs? No, right, okay. But what is ES doing? It's also CSDing lower, right? So we get this SMT. As you can see, this is the closest well. So ES is the middle asset and NQ is the weakest. So ideally here, you could take ES probably. Now let's see the lowest point of that. So you have to remember the lowest point of that is like nowhere relevant. I think you can probably enter market. No, okay. I'll definitely need to war with the. You can use the bodies here, but I'll need to war with the load of that. Because beyond that, there's just a gap. I don't know if we can hit that. So we can definitely try this. Well, actually, I'll go here so you guys can see it a little bit better as well. Oh, so we don't get tapped in. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're also taking this on RTY, I'll be honest. Let's go back. So still about limit order on yes. We can take this. This is the second CSD here. Alright, there it is. We can get to war right there. I'm still keeping my limit order here. Alright, so I gotta remove this limit order here at this point. And this also, let me see. Do we get this 5-minute CSD? Nope. Okay. I see here pretty much I'm going to break even because I have these opposing candles. And okay, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I would do something like this. You could probably demand to orbit the loaded there. Ideally, yeah, I think you probably do that. So it's a little bit hindsight. Because like this is not a swing, so like that's the most relevant swing we have there. So we do definitely miss on the trade on ES, but I'll do the same where I do the same, which I'll do the same here. So where that retests our entry, we get that CSD and it delivers. Okay. So yeah, unlucky. I wouldn't trade this low. I'll probably trade this, but in hindsight, it does expand past that, right? But I need to orbit this. Even if I use the bodies here, I will not be filled. That's fine. So I'll miss out on this trade. Now it's very weird that we leave these. Okay. So this 10 AM as well. So we get a V shape there, but yeah, the problem is we're gonna have a very hard time to reach this. Even though we took out this low. And by this point, I'm pretty much done here. What I can trade is like continuation. You can see this like 15-minute. As you can see here, we never get it. We just chop around. I remember that. So we do get this actually. Get this low, but no continuation. So if you want to take this trade, I was actually looking at this thing. Of course, like this CSD is not V-shaped, but it's a 50-minute C2. So it's tradable. And you can all enter. You can't enter there. You have to go break even here. So you get stopped out break even. I remember this trade. And yeah, so NQ ends up hitting the low today. It does V-shape, but there's no 2R here trade. This is the first CSD, and this CSD is you can trust this one, but again, your stop loss should be here, so you get this. And unfortunately, yeah, it just does reverse off of that. And it never delivers that. At this point, it's very late. I wouldn't trade this anymore. So that is pretty weird. So the only loss I took is that longer NQ, and then yeah. So what I should have done better is understand that if we're bullish, I don't want to see when we reject these highs, right? I don't want to see that. I'm just expanding lower. Yes, the middle asset, this is strongest. I want to wait for a resync. So what was the resync? I guess you could say there's this 50-minute C2 here. It's close here, right? With SMT. And then you try and trade ES. You don't get an entry, you can trade RTY. Is there SMT here as well? There is. So you're trading pretty much lagging asset here, but fine. This CSD here. Yeah, that's a continuation from this gap. And the amount to R with the lowest point of the day, or you just close at the lowest point of the day. Like this would be 1.9R pretty much. But yeah, like Let's not be too greedy. That's a very relevant swing, important swing to where we could reverse. We could do have a deeper trace and something like that. All right. So that's it for that day. Let's go over. So yeah, that's the trade I end up taking. Right. It doesn't work because of what Wayne is doing. Okay, so let's go here. Wednesday we have PPI. I'll probably skip that. Let's skip that. So now let's go to daily. Okay. This is so good. Where is the daily likely to expand here? You're looking at this close. Are you even look at the weekly here? Right, it's a C2 into expansion over in every single asset. Right. I'm looking at all these fair swings. That's where I want to trade towards ideally. And so here, I'm bearish probably NQES. Even YM, I'll be honest, we hit this low. So it's a relevant swing. We could, I mean, yeah, these just pretty spaced out. And this also, it's pretty stays low. So we have to pay attention here to what happens at this low. Yeah, because like the day now is open low first. Yeah, even this day, right? It's open low first, leaving these relatively close that we had, right? Just this high. So let's see what happens there. Here, see the out water close, close. Even on ES, there is SMT here. So there's SMT here. I'll be completely honest, most of the time when there's this SMT, if I want to trade positional entry, which for example would be, oh yeah, we can take this 100%. We can take this 50-minute CSD. So I don't really care about my fill. As long as you can get to R with like this low, alright, we can. I'll just enter market here, man. I don't really care. I'm gonna break even at this low, I guess. So this dynamic open with this hourly close. Yeah, I'm kind of like I'm not waiting for another CSD. If I wanted to wait for 8:30, you just enter here. I'll be honest. You just enter off of that CSD, but you can wait for the 15-minute. You can get like the retest of the 15-minute. I think it's not needed. I wouldn't require it. Let's see. Let's see where's 2R with that. That wouldn't be too bad actually. That wouldn't be too bad actually. Alright, so we get immediately tagged in, okay. So here, prior to the driver, just want to wait. So this is prior to the driver as well. Let's see what happens in 1 minute. Alright, so what makes it? Oh, I wasn't paying attention as much. Yeah, SMT there. It's leaving a bunch of fade swings. I don't like this. Okay, I wouldn't trade this. Even though we hit that low. Technically, this is C2. That's V shape, but we're leaving fade swings. I wouldn't trade this. Okay, it's a 50-minute C2. Are we gonna get a CSD? Okay, 30 minutes bugged again. So okay, so this just hits to R. And so ideally, this is a position where I think you're probably fine. Let's see if he does it to R. And I mean, at that point, no, I think you can stop by breaking even. Yeah. So I mean, just this candle here, right? It's likely we get C2. So what you can do is have your stop loss here. It's likely we get C2 candle close there. Right, just better fill. Overall WAM. So WAM is expanding higher. It's RTY. I don't trust this man. Okay, but let's say we missed that trade. I'm pretty sure there is another trade. I'm gonna see the 5-minute. Okay, so you get this 5-minute on ES first. Now, I personally don't like this as much. Right, so we get 2-stage here because YM takes out that high. The problem is, I mean, not 2-stage. I mean, yeah. Problem is YM is not really reversing necessarily, but it's showing pretty decent weakness. You can see here, We get this inversion, right? Well, right after taking this high, this is a very V-shaped inversion. Now we don't get this yet at 1 minute CSD. Something like this, right? Where you get bearish close, this asset is expanding lower, so WAM is likely to go lower. It's showing signs of weakness, right? It doesn't keep expanding past this. We hit the highest point of the day as well, right? That's where you could trust this probably. And I personally wouldn't take this 5 minute. I don't like it as much, but you can, you definitely can, okay? So, and we need to R with this low. So we get this right there. Alright, so we get this CSD, and at this point, I would be break even. So, I mean, you could also take NQ here. It's just the closest way, like, your stop loss is too wide, in my opinion. Yeah, you cannot get to R here. You cannot get to R. Or you can demand it, but you're not going to get it. And then we hit the low. Now, what I actually took this day is not this 5 minute. I waited for this 3 minute. And I had my stop at the high, but I should definitely not had it at the high. Like I ideally just put it into bodies. Or this candle high, I guess. Let's see if it's a 1 minus 1 point. No. Okay. Ideally just put it at the bodies here. I could just enter market. So ideally I should have done this. And once I realized I should have done this, here I actually closed my position. It was like 1.5 hour. Right, so I'm not being too strict where I had, I had my stop here. I don't know why it was here. I should just had the bodies pretty much. Right. I mean, at the time I didn't know there was a gap, but we should just trade away from those. So once I realized that I just closed 1.5 hour, making a mistake, but just again, I could have held till this, but I just I just wanted to R, and if I execute this trade properly, I already would have gotten it here, so I just closed it there. I was like, okay, mistake on my part. I don't give away profits. And so yeah, you can see YM starts displacing lower here with this. You could just tell by what RTY is doing. Okay, now besides that, now we swept this low twice. Yeah, so NQ as a man as well. You could take probably, I mean, if 3 minute, you can take this 3 minutes as well, I guess. I'll already take the position on this one. This on the yes because it's like the close. It just makes sense. So here we get a deeper retracement. Let me see. I think we leave relatively equal as even on NQ. Yeah, so we're leaving relatively equal as on the yes. Let me look at YM quick as well. Okay, so this is 10 a.m. We just hit the eye there as well. I see this more so as like higher resistance at this point. Oh, you're retracing inside. Yeah, this is also a 6 hour gap. Now this kind of still hasn't closed, but if I were to trade art, it would be RTY, right? Because we have this. If I want to trade this higher. Can I trace this? Yes, definitely not. No, this is too small. Alright, so what I remember is we do retrace inside this 50-minute gap. You can see NQ still also leaving relatively equal lows. I hit the daily and whatnot, but alright, this is usually not a good reversal point. So that's unlucky. This would probably deliver this high where we go break even. We're probably gonna deliver these. I don't know, but this high is kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Oh, you could probably short this again. If there is, he can destroy, I guess. So we did take out the high today. I mean, this would be the stronger asset, trading a stronger asset, right? But Wham is definitely like that's why it's definitely like just like V-shaping lower here. So what I did here, on an eval, I took this trade. And I think it was an IQ, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, it's not 2R, quite 2R with this low. I guess you probably like normally if I was gonna take this type of trade. Now there's like, so I'm trading a gap here rather than the CSD because yeah, I'll trade something like this. If we do get tapped in, I'm able to go. Well, actually here I should probably trade my stop very much. Not even go break even. Like, it just hits the wall right there. So these assets. So I mean you cannot short this actually. So re-hit this low. Now these are equal lows. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean I don't know what RQA is doing here. And at this point I'm just done, right? Because like we're already extended. Thank you hit that, or I hit this as well. I'm not expecting lower prices necessarily. That was a very clean day where you can get positional entry. Now you don't have to require the you don't have to require the retest of this, but it's just very likely it happens. And because like ideally you require the retest because I would have entered here personally. Okay. I would have entered in this CSD if I was looking at the charts. But again, I don't trade prior to 9. I should just wait for 9. But, and here I will not trade this, I'll be honest. Because there's SMT, it's likely that we might just manipulate and get a 2-stage, right? Something like this does happen very often with the driver. And yeah, so I mean, this chops around because it's ideally bullish, but it's also bearish, right? So I do want to avoid trading this asset. If you want to trade the asset that has the cleanest drone liquidity, the smallest wick, and it's likely to just expand. So I mean, in this case, it's 2 assets, so it's like NQES, right? Yeah, arguably YM can probably hit this low, but yeah, it's just way better. Okay, now we can go over Thursday. So I took this trade here, and I realized that I could definitely just I had better stop loss placement, so I just closed my trade here at this low. I did not want to give away profit. Alright, so let's go over the 15th. What do you have? The 15 unemployment claims. Again, we're gonna go next day open. And now let's see what this day does. So we are currently okay. So this type of day, and it's very similar to what. Let me go show you guys. Whenever you get this type of day, right, larger expansion with a large wick, or usually like, the bodies is just as large as the wick. The next day usually is like an inside day. We don't get a lot of expansion, right? Like in this, it's usually just an inside day. We're likely not to take either side of the range. So what we usually do is just chop in the middle, right? Just not necessarily consolidate, but don't take out either, and then we can get a C2 off of this or a C2 off of this to go lower. Right? I'm not even going to go into the bias for this. It's just an example. So looking at the daily here, which asset? Okay, so this asset closes bullish. Very simple here. Like, what's the easiest bias? This, okay, and I think it was a little bit something like that. Okay, but let's just imagine that's all-time highs. Right, but so what are we doing? We're retracing to the open side first, where we are chasing inside this bullish gap. And what is YM doing? So YM is also opening high first. It's leaving these. This day is also opening high first. So it's not the cleanest framework to long this or short. We can expect this high to be taken. Okay, but beyond that, it's just I don't know. It's not the cleanest creation on the swing point, right? It just that's a Thursday, right? Okay. So ideally, if we're bullish, this day should trade higher. But I already exhausted pretty much all of its range. So yeah, the mistake I made this day is I didn't realize, okay, we moved 1.4%. So I can expect this high and nothing above it, right? If I want to trade, it's going to be off of like After we hit this high, previous day's high, and that's it. Anything after that, it's just like too many expansion candles, right? Even like I wouldn't even trade this, right? This candle in itself, probably not. Yes, probably a candle to trade. So having said that, I want to trade RTY higher because this is so obvious. Okay, but what is why I'm likely to do is like here the framework in itself is probably bearish. Probably want to hit these lows. Right, the day opens high first, we get a C2, and this is like, can we reverse off of these? Probably not. There is SMT, I think, between these though. Alright, so there is SMT. So if we're gonna, if we're trying to be bullish, then the low of the day or these lows should be the reason we go higher. Ideally, we actually hit the low of the day. I'll be completely honest. And then here, if I look at my left, oh, I remember this day, yeah. If I look at my left, we got all this low resistance liquidity, right? So like, look at this, okay, yeah. That's how you know it's gonna fail. That's how you know it's gonna, like, this is likely to expand higher. So R2A hits these lows of this gap. We gotta track low. Right, we left relatively wise right there. And here it's, yeah, it's very unlucky here. So most of the time I don't trade C2s. Like a reversal, because this will be a reversal. But here, man, holy. Like, you kind of have to understand that, I mean, it depends on what happens on YM here. So I will wait for YM. I'll wait for YM to CSD higher. Okay, so YM does CSD higher. At this point, can we get to R? Oh, yeah, I mean, you can try and get to R with that. Okay, so we can do that. So here I'm triggering a reversal. Okay, well, I'm assuming it's probably there. And like technically, of course, I should probably just. What I did here is I tried to get in a gap, 5 minute, 3 minute, like something like this. But ideally here, we just rip it, right? It's like the YM is V shaping. So we don't pay attention to these assets. I really don't care. Wait, do we have SMT here? Oh, we also have this. That's not a relevant swing though. Let me see. So it's not a swing, but yeah. Yeah. You can see this takes out this low. Like this actually. Yeah, it's like that, but we do get that. And here, honestly, we just wait. And I wouldn't trade this CSD. Okay, this like that just doesn't make any sense. And I would personally trust even this, right? So we hit this. We shift 50 minutes CSD this time. And what were we doing? We're tracing away from equal highs. This is also another trade you could take. These assets, again, I don't want to trade them because they're overextended. This is like, that's kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. The fifth candle. Okay, so like it would be candle 6 technically because this is a, I mean, it's not really a swing point. This is candle 2, candle 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 actually, right? Because like this is a swing point, but yeah. So here, you have to pay attention to where we go when we go break even. Go break even at the highest point of the day. And on YM, let's see. So expand. Let me see the 15-minute on YM. Ideally, actually, yeah. Ideally, we don't hit this low. I could go break even here. Even though it's before the driver. If we go all the way down there, yeah, I mean, it's probably gonna be like a C2 into expansion lower at that point. Yeah, so that hits TP, and here we will be break even. At break even. Let's see if this does actually hit TP. Okay. We got rage baited. I don't know if it's exactly this. We're gonna check, right? Because I just want to war with that. So what day was it? I think it was this day. Was this day? No, never mind. So we had this. Did we already hit this? No. All right. So we go inside of this day. No, it's the next day. It's not even this one. Yeah, it's the next day. But I'll leave. I just want to see if it actually was like this brutal of stopless or got stopped by a tick. I could have just used the bodies here, I guess. Yeah, I guess I could have done that, but I want to see where it is. I'm assuming it's probably at this high, like this. This probably hits it. Wait, did I not close? Did I not close my trade there? Oh, because I had passed that. Okay. All right. So daily, so I hit it in this day. I hit it way before that. Okay. So I'll definitely need to use the bodies there. I'm sorry if it's a little bit hindsight, but yeah, so I would have to use the bodies here to get to R with that high. Something like this, okay, or just a little bit less, like lower fill. I mean, I honestly doesn't really care. I don't really care about that. Yeah, so we can go breaking in there. That delivers, and this also delivers. We would have gone breaking in there. So what about NQES? I just don't trade them. I don't trade NQES because they're overextended and extremely large range to the day before. And here again, so the reason I don't trust this to go lower is, well, first of all, if you look at this, right, does this gap get inversed? Yes, it does, right? So like ideally you get a C2 here. Okay, so we trade into that gap here. What do? We just expand away. Like, no, hindsight we didn't know that yet, but yeah. And I think there is another trade here though. If I'm not mistaken, there is another trade. There is, but PSP SMT fail, retracing over from relatively equal highs. Here, pretty much, I'm just looking at NQ. Like, is it two stage? Not really, no. I'll be honest. Okay, so I didn't take this trade. So I didn't take a loss before this, or what? What day is this? The 15th. Okay, so we'll go over this real quick. So this before 10. And I'll be honest, this 3-minute I don't really like. But the fact that we get the 5-minute is enough for me to believe we should go higher, right? But do I require? Definitely don't require 2R for that. Because like it just doesn't make sense, right? Like 2R would be here. Do you want to see this deep over retracement? I guess you could try it. I mean, let's see what's above this though. I don't remember exactly. It's pretty much nothing. I mean, if we're gonna expand, we're gonna rip through this gap probably. But yeah, that's a pretty okay. So I'll probably try something like this here. Something like this. Let's see if it even does get filled. Yeah, it doesn't. So here, you probably just enter market, I'll be honest. If you don't take this trade, where you go breaking even that high. Even in the high of the day, you just go breaking at that high. Right there. already hit the, I mean, already hit the high. I guess there is all-time highs that day, which we don't hit. Okay, there is. We leave all-time highs, but yeah. I don't trade in QES because it just doesn't make sense. This would have hit 2R. So why not ask for the limit? It's a very small OB. Like if I look at this 5-minute, my 2R would have been very close to the low. We pretty much add EQ of this. I kind of don't want to see that. I just want to see a one-side expansion towards this. And you don't have to take this, by the way, okay? You can just skip on this because, yeah. You can see, I mean, so if this is the drawn liquidity, like I can barely get to 1R here. I probably just don't ask for a 2R. You just market order and you go break even to this high. I mean, that's it for that day because we're overextended. Everyone trading QES, you see like they're chopping around. They have expanded the entirety of the day. Tomorrow is likely to do something. Today is likely to just close bullish. We just wait for it. I mean, not as a close bullish, but yeah, I mean. Alright, so that was Thursday. Let's go over Friday. I mean, let's go over the trade that took that day. So a break-even trade. So I tried to trade ES and I went breaking at the high today. Yeah. And then there's this. I tried to trade NQ. Now let's go over this trade, I think. I think he still hasn't now, but it's very late. So we take out all these fair swings. We do V-shape. All right, this is like a 4-hour C2. It's pretty much fine. So I'm trading towards this. I'm trading NQ. And ideally, I should just trade ES. Okay. So you can see this. I mean, so if I wanted to trade this, ideally the first ESD happens on ES. So we'll trade it something like this. And this is the ice point of the day. I think it is. Okay, so it would be like that. Would that be break even? Those are equal highs. I'll go break even there and stop that break even, right? So this trade actually ends up stopping me out. And yeah, whatever. You just consolidate, right? We don't even hit this high. I should just not trade NQ, yes. Right, just trade YM. Stronger asset on the daily. The asset with the smallest wick. And plenty of draws on liquidity. I mean, not plenty. I'll say this. I mean, but these are so obvious, right? We're going to reverse this gap. I don't know about that, okay? But look at this close, right? You're just likely to expand. Or you just trade RTY, even RTY here. And like arguably, if you're crazy, so it already hit all-time highs here. You get this 50-minute, but at this point, it's not positional anymore. At this point, it's not positional entry, but yeah. Or you could trade this, but I don't think you don't get to R if you long the CSD. So you'll be filled, I think, after a seed 1 minute. 9:30, yeah. So it hits the draw liquidity and then you get filled. So there's no way you trade that. Or just trade this. Yeah. I trade this 3-minute close. This, I think, or something here. I trade that. Alright, so let's go over Friday. Is there news? I think there isn't. No. Okay. So we're gonna go next day open. Let's look at the daily close. I remember this day, yeah. It's very clean. The trade I took was high probability. As you can see, by the way, all these trades, all these losses are avoidable, right? And this is the case with most of these losses, right? This is definitely avoidable, right? Every asset is not expanding higher, so NQ is not likely to hit this high. And this is like technically the most overextended asset. If we want to take lows, probably take on YM, right? And this just makes way more sense. The continuation trade we took on YM, right? The problem with that, I think it is that I would like to get to R with this high, but I mean, just looking at the low that they're probably likely to expand towards this. Alright, so we have left that high. Looking at this weekly, I wouldn't trade RTY. Okay, so if this weekly wants to close bullish, we're gonna take it. Probably. Even if there's a bunch of expansion candles on RTY, but we still have previous day's high, so I'm not bearish. Right, so we cannot reverse probably unless at least one of these highs is this high. Like, okay. So the day here opens high first. Right. Okay, so we have a C2 with SMT. Yeah. So the day is making a shallow high, and it's now probably gonna retrace inside of this. But if we want to trade that higher, probably wait for 10. Okay. We're gonna trade like this asset higher. Okay, so we get this. I remember what trade I took here, so so here, ideally, you wait because one of these assets is likely to take out previous day's high. Let me go and mark it out. Well, I know in here, yes, I already know they're not gonna hit it. But where is YM? Because if YM does this, it opens low and it starts like reshaping. Then what are NQS likely to do? Probably do the same, right? So by the way, that's the lowest point of the day. It's very important to have every single asset synced, except for RTY. I mean, RTY and YM, okay? And it's a little bit weird with RTY. Let me talk about this real quick. The way I trade RTY is I require YM to pretty much not be the middle asset between NQES. Now, most of the time, that's not the case. I want to see pretty much like either this being the weakest asset or the strongest. And that's usually the case. Okay, most of the time that's the case, but it's not always the case. Because if this is the middle asset, R2Y is gonna usually have like a little bit or a harder time delivering. If this is ripping higher or lower, R2Y is probably gonna move very similarly, okay? And yeah, I mean, having said that, so here we want to wait for YM because it hits this high and starts V-shaping, right? And ENQS do the same, right? Because they left this, for example. If they go lower, hit these highs and start V-shaping, right? This for our candle can turn into a C2 on NQ, for example, something like that, and we could trade into this high, right? Because like we're just in this range, pretty much. So here we just wait patiently for all these assets to do something, show us the direction. I'm pretty sure we don't get anything prior to the driver. Okay, so these houses are expanding higher. Okay, whatever. I'm not bullish necessarily. Okay, we are in a range. Right. I don't want to trade this higher. And if you want to trade, I mean, this 50 minutes CSD is not really it. Holy. Yeah, the 30 minute looks even worse. You see how long it takes? And if you wanted to be bullish, you'd probably trade this CSD here. All right, so by this time, I will be break even here, so I'll be stopped at break even. Okay. But I'm not necessarily bullish, so let's see why I am. It does give this CSD. Let me see the 50 minutes. So it's not really a 50-minute CSD. Like ideally, you just trade this something. Like realistically, you just get the CSD here, so you don't get this 50-minute either. I don't like this. Okay. So when it hits the high, NQ CSD is lower, so we're very uncorrelated. We want to see what happens on YM at the high. Also, NQ hits this high. Okay, so that's very important, right? Because now ES as another stage SMT at this high. Well, I remember this. Well, it's in like 15-minute, 30-minute gap, right? It doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna try 30-minute here. So we want to pay very close attention to what happens on this hot set. Boom, V shape, right? You can see if we're bullish, we should not get this deep of our retracement. We should probably form a gap. But look at the lower time frame here. Look at this, right? Clean, clean inversion. I don't trade inversion, but just see it's immediate. All right, we're so close to this low at this point. Right, to the lowest point of the day. Hourly gap, I believe it is. V shape. So here we look on NQES. Okay, so NQs are retracing. Let's play the next candle. There is. All right, take this. And so what do NQ and ES do? V shape lower. Now I think I traded this 5-minute. Yep. So I did. You could trade NQ here. I really just wanted to trade ES because like that's the lowest point of the day. Look at that. So this is the lowest point of the day. And if we're gonna expand lower, we're gonna hit this like for sure. So here what I do, I don't like this 3-minute. I mean, you can probably see this 3-minute so ass. If I wanted to trade the 3-minute, it would be on NQ. So you could take this, by the way. Right, this that thing is second CSD. So what I waited for is just the 5-minute close. 5-minute CSD here. All right, so we get this 5-minute, and here I need 2R. I don't remember what I think I put myself here. I need 2R with this low. Yeah, there's. So I just demand 2R with this low. I don't care about the low of the day in this case because it's not a relevant swing. Right? If it was a relevant swing, I would probably miss out on this trade. I'll be honest, but yeah. I really need the retest of this 5-minute CSD, okay? I just need 2R with this. I don't really care if it does get filled or not. Let me adjust this so it's exactly 2R. Okay. Here's the FISMA order. And okay, pretty much I can go break even here on NQ. So the way I go break even is if my trade plays out more than 1 hour in my favor, and there is an OB, like pretty the entirety of the OB, or like 95%, as you can see here. This is my order block here. All right. There's a small little wick. We should not, like, price shouldn't really do this and then deliver most of the time, especially if it is moved past 1 hour, okay? It's closer to my TP than this. Or I go break even at the lowest point of the day. So, having said that, I'm also V-shaping, but I wouldn't trade this, I'll be honest. Okay. Artway hits this low, and it's V-shaping higher. But what do we need? How do we filter? How do we filter our CSDs, right? Because that's my goal pretty much. Okay, so this hits TP. And here, we are 1 hour in my favor. There is this gap, but I would probably want to wait for a CSD here. Alright, so we hit the lowest point of that. So by that point, I'm break even. As you can see, this is also closer to my TP. Yeah, I mean, just lowest point of the day. And also there's plenty of gaps here. I can't really see them all that well. There's plenty of gaps here. We should just barely top them and deliver this low. At worst case scenario, we're actually gonna have a retracement. So yeah, wait, actually, I think my fill was a little bit better because I got out here with this 4-2R. Yeah, my fill was just slightly better. Okay, well, perhaps I use this. Probably. Yeah, probably something like that. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter. The John liquidity gets it regardless of whatever. Even you could probably short it. I mean, this is like pretty insane, but probably short this CSD here. That's the bottom of the range, like so close to the draw. I like that. I like doing that. So here, there's this. You can see this is a very deep retracement. And what is YM doing? It's not really like, not V-shaping, right? It's not, you don't see continuation of YM, so this is likely to fail. Now again, we left relatively high, so we're likely to just manipulate this low. So 4 hour, right? So we're leaving these. This asset just expanding. I don't really care about this. I'm not like marginal liquidity, which was this low, has been hit. I don't think overall, most of the time on a Friday, we're gonna hit this low. Right, so YM is also inside of this gap. So we get this CSD, and look at this, just look at this V shape, all right? I'm not trading YM though because I already hit this. But look at this V shape, right? So if you're trading RTY, that's literally all you want to see. Look at this. RTY gets like gives an even deeper retracement. And I think there's the 5 minute here. Okay, no. Definitely wait for this 3 minute. You can take this. Now the question is, you probably let's see what is this swing. Okay, we're probably if we're gonna go higher, we're probably gonna hit this. So yeah, you just enter market here. Other CSD, you could go break even here, right? There's another CSD that should support price. We're very close to this high. Does it make sense for the price to go all the way back to your break even and then deliver? Probably not. If it does, just pushing around. See if this does it eventually or not. Yes, there is. There's the R. Also this, if you're trying to be bullish on RTY, because it left previous swings, you just wait for YM to V-shape as well. And that's going to be it for that week. We're going to go over the results of what did I take that day. Actually, I took it yesterday. Okay, there's this 5 minute. I just need to work with that. Okay, wherever. This is slides. Started doing slides at this point. This is just so clean, right? You just wait for every asset to be in sync, and then you trade either the weakest slash strongest asset, or you just trade the middle asset. The middle asset is fine as well. Most of the time, you are trying to trade the weakest. But even here, the weakest asset actually was like YM, right? Because it hit the high, even though it took out this high, previous day's high. Even though it took out that, it was already edge drawn liquidity, which is like the low of the day, or like this hourly low, right? Already hit that, so I'm not gonna trade this lower necessarily. I already trade NQ, yes, right? So ES was the middle asset, right? NQ technically was the lagging asset. Because of this, right? And yeah, I just trade ES. Then you want to trade RTY higher because it left previous day's high, and it just like I hit this low, there's nothing below this low. You get a V shape, you just trade RTY. But we wait for YM to also start showing signs of potential reversal. Okay. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this week. I mean, let's go over the stats. Plenty of opportunities, right? And I'm not perfect, unfortunately, but you can see, like, even this week, right? I made some profit, even though there's a bunch of mistakes. There is. So we got another 24R this week, pretty much. Oh. Because yeah, it was 25 and there's 24. Pretty insane. Okay, so that's gonna be it.